Well, so, hey, let's just start off with that. You were there. You were covering the game for Fox Baltimore. Give us your feel, your vibe. It looked like it was rocking there in Texas.
That place is loud. I mean, the decision to keep the roof closed, I think that was MLB's decision, but that place, it looks like a football stadium when you walk in and you look. It's as big as a football stadium, and when it gets rocking, it's got that atmosphere and playoff baseball atmosphere. I mean, it's unbelievable in itself and in an open stadium like Camden Yards. But when you get into a closed facility like Globe Life Field in Arlington, and those fans, I didn't see a ton of Orioles fans there, but I did hear the O during the national anthem. That's always my gauge of how many Orioles fans are actually there. It was pretty loud, guys. So, but that place
all that matters.
Yeah, it's loud. Fireworks go off inside, and it was rocking. Great atmosphere for Game 3 of the ALDS.
That was actually, I was going to ask you about that, was they talked about it a few times on the broadcast, so you could tell a difference with it being the roof closed, because they were saying it makes it feel that much louder, and I was wondering what impact that had.
Man, I'm telling you what, there were times that I couldn't hear the person next to me. I was sitting next to Pete Gilbert of WBAL and then Mark Viviano of CBS Baltimore on the other side of me, and those guys would talk, and it would be hard to hear them because it was so loud in there at times when they were, waving the rally towels, when they showed George Bush was in attendance, when he was there, they, everyone went nuts on the screen. And the Rangers fans in general, I mean, great atmosphere. All credit to their fan base for, the show they put on. They appreciate postseason baseball. You can tell, just like the fans do here in Baltimore. So great atmosphere, and that's what you expect when you go to a postseason game. But yeah, man, I haven't been there when the roof's been open, because practice they had it closed as well. So I can't really tell what would be louder or better. But I feel like for the Rangers, they were happy that roof was closed, because it felt like the fans, I'm sure, on the field were on top of you, and it was that much louder.
It looked like it, sounded like it. And let's talk about the game then. Obviously, the Orioles could not get going early, and it started with a bang for the Rangers. Corey Seager hit that bomb to right. I mean, Rock, when you were seeing this unfold in the first couple innings, was there a growing sense that Texas was just, the momentum was all there? I felt like that Nathaniel Lowe at bat in the second inning was really almost the turning point, where even though he got out there, it just felt like this was going to be the way that it was going to go for the Orioles, unfortunately.
You had a sense during that at bat that Kramer was getting tired or tiring out at that point in time. I mean, 15 pitches to anyone, that's a lot. And actually, that's the most pitches in an at bat for this postseason, and the most since 2021 in the postseason. So 15 pitch at bat, that doesn't happen too often in postseason baseball. I mean, and the crowd was getting into it after every pitch that was fouled off, every ball. Like, the crowd was getting into it and growing and growing and growing. And you really got that sense of the momentum shifting in the Rangers' way after that. I think that was a real big turning point. You talk about the Seager home run, second batter Kramer faced in the game. That was huge, because first run of the game, second batter you face, and they're already punching you in the mouth. But that Low at bat, I mean, you guys saw it and you guys witnessed it and watched it. And it was, I'm sure for Orioles fans, it was painful to watch, because you're watching your pitcher tire out as he's throwing 15 pitches to one guy.
I mean, I think even one of the commentators made a statement yesterday. If you expect Kramer to throw 90 pitches in a game, if that's like where they were saying, that's 1/6 of his pitches to one batter. Mm-hmm. So that's insane. It was more pitches than the Orioles saw in either the first or second inning, together. So it really is. It was one of those moments, like you said, where you could just kind of see the frustration on Dean's face growing as he just couldn't put him away pitch after pitch.
Yeah. And to talk about that, to lead into it, then to give stats back on this game. Hey, look, Texas has been known for the big inning, right? 3 innings in the last 2 games versus the Orioles. They put up a combined 14 runs, 2 of those being 5 spots, including in the second inning. It just felt like that the Rangers were just so dialed in and were making it so hard for Dean to kind of work out of it. I mean, look, it's 5 of the 7 runs for the Texas Rangers came via 2 outs and came in that second inning.
Guys, I really don't think it would have mattered who the Orioles put out on the mound to start that game, whether it was Dean Kramer, whether it was Kyle Gibson. The Texas Rangers are a good hitting baseball team. They're getting hot at the right time, and they were hitting every single ball hard right off the bat. Whether it was a homer, whether it was a line out, whether it was a single, whether it was a double, every ball that they hit, you could hear the pop. Even with the crowd being as loud as it was, you could hear the pop of that bat, the ball off the bat, and they were barreling everything up really off Kramer. So I really don't think it would have made a difference if Gibson was on the mound, if someone else was on the mound. It's like they're just a tough team right now, and they're a wagon going forward for sure.
Well, what about on the other side then, Zach? Because we talked about this. As good as unfortunate it was for the Orioles starting pitching staff, Nathan Eovaldi did everything you needed and what you wanted for the Rangers really from the get-go.
I mean, you don't get the nickname Big Game Nate if you don't show up in the playoffs. And he's already had 2 starts in these playoffs, 1.32 ERA, puts out 7 one-run innings yesterday, gets the curtain call from the crowd. And you could just tell as the game was going, especially the first 2 innings, when it was, even with the Tony hit, it was 11 pitches, 9 pitches. He had that swagger going back to the dugout and going back on the mound each inning of, okay, I have it. And like you said, Rock, I'm not sure it really mattered who the Orioles put on the mound yesterday, because Eovaldi was on. And in a lot of ways, the Rangers are exactly who we thought they were. They are an incredible offense, a very good starting pitching rotation, and a crapshoot for a bullpen. And we even saw that, game 2 and game 3 when the Orioles had chances late against the bullpen, but the difference was they couldn't capitalize. So we came in saying, get the starters out early, and boom, the series is yours to lose. And they couldn't get the stars out early. I mean, Eovaldi goes out there and does what Nathan Eovaldi does in the playoffs. I mean, guy is no stranger to the big moment.
We knew that the Orioles needed to get to Eovaldi early if they're going to have a chance. I thought also from the get-go what I was talking about, Eovaldi had a lot of first pitch strikes. I think it was 18 to 26 batters faced, was getting ahead with the first pitch strike, primarily his fastball, and then the shutdown innings. When the Rangers scored in the first, they countered it the next inning with Eovaldi going out and shutting them down. When they put up 5 in the second, going out and shutting them down again, shut them down in the 7th, and that really closed the door. But I will say this. I thought this Orioles team, even at the end, and Chapman wanted to give the O's a chance. He tried to, and the Orioles kept fighting. Hicks battled his ass off in that at bat in the 8th. And then once that happened, really reality set in for O's fans. But Rock, I want to play this clip because you got to be in the locker room to talk with some of the guys after the game.
We were able to win our division. So going into next year, that's what we're going to expect out of ourselves. We've turned the tables here and we expect to win. So I think that's just where we all are as players. That's what we're going to expect out of ourselves next year, is to get back here and make a run, go take it all the way to the end.
We made a big step in the right direction, and definitely going to be a platform for us to continue to have this type of baseball.
I mean, yeah, this feeling sucks, but on the bright side, this is our first taste of the postseason. And I mean, we're all basically pretty much everybody in this clubhouse is coming back. So a lot of good years to look forward to.
This hurts, and it's okay to hurt. It's okay to have this kind of fuel your fire in the off season. It's going to take a little bit while for us to get over this a little bit, but I think our guys are going to come in hunting hungry in spring training. The guys that are coming back, especially the young guys, knowing what this feels like, knowing what this tastes like, and it sucks.
It was a lot of fun, when we were playing, and I think next year we're gonna be excited and hopefully make it back again next year.
So hey, shout out to you, Rock. That was you covering with Fox Baltimore, being in there. And I'll be honest, when I got my ass kicked, I wasn't happy. Right? That's a competitor in them. But this group, Rock, feels like they believe this is the start of something special.
Guys, I really feel like that's the case. And to see guys watching the Rangers celebrate that game 3 victory, that sweep from the top step of the dugout, I think as Orioles fans, that's what you want to see. Not that image necessarily of your team watching another team celebrate, but watching your guys kind of the wheels start turning, using that as motivation, because you've seen those celebrations in the past. Stephon Diggs is a big one when he was watching the confetti go down. I'm pretty sure he did that with the Chiefs in the AFC playoffs. So that was a big one that really sticks out. But to watch the Orioles, to watch their faces, and to see the guys, Ryan Mountcastle said, yeah, we were, no pun intended, we were soaking it all in because that was the Orioles thing. But they really were, because they are going to use this as motivation going forward. This image, is going to stick in their heads going forward in their careers into 2024, into 2025. And you heard Austin Hayes talk about this team's going to be back. That's along the lines of that, and they're going to be taking it even further. Cedric Mullins, I know he went 0-4 in the postseason. Like, he could not buy a hit, but Cedric Mullins is a big piece of this ball club, and Cedric Mullins has done a lot for this ball club. So let's not forget about what Cedric Mullins did this season, the big plays he's made. But he called it baby steps. He's like, it sucks we have to do it this way, but we just missed out on the playoffs last year. Then we get in and we lose in, the first playoff series we play this year. He goes, next year, maybe we can take it a step further. So that's what you want to hear from your ball club. That's the mentality you want to see. And Zach, for you, being a fan of this team, one of the diehards, like, what sticks out to you after hearing that from those guys and hearing what they're doing and seeing them watch from that top step?
I think the biggest thing that I took away from that, especially when Hyde talked about how hungry everyone's going to come in, we've talked about a lot of negatives in this game. Gunnar Henderson, I would like to put the house on him to win the 2024 MVP. There was just something clicked in these playoffs where all season it led to that moment of, okay, who is really Gunnar Henderson? We saw him, take over the Rookie of the Year race, and then he gets to the playoffs and you're like, okay, what's going to happen? And then he hit almost, I think, was it 500? I think it was, 6 for, and it was at times he was the only one who could do something, which you're not necessarily asking from your 22-year-old Rookie of the Year to take over in the playoffs, but he didn't have a problem doing it. So it gave me a sense of comfort and just excitement to hear those guys talk about how much fire they're going to have, but also see it throughout the playoffs. The certain guys, Adley, you could tell it was eating at him, and this is going to stick with him the entire offseason. There are just a lot of guys that I think are going to want to prove a lot come March, April 2024.
Yeah, I mean, and Rock, what was that stat for the final game? Gunnar had how many of the hits compared to the rest of the team?
Yo's had 6 as a team. Gunnar had 3 of them. And we talked about it before, Rip, with him leading off, providing a spark. I mean, him leading, I love Gunnar leading off. I don't care if it's against a lefty. I don't care if it's against a righty. Providing that spark, getting him on base and being able to do what he's able to do. I mean, case in point, last night, 3 hits of the team's 6 from your rookie, 22 years old, the Rookie of the Year. Getting overrated chance, not phased. He's smiling on first base, just kind of laughing it off and talking to the Rangers. It's like, that's who Gunnar Henderson is. He's such a humble guy, but he's also hungry. Seeing him sign autographs before the game. Not many players do that, and that's not a knock on them. They're laser focused, but this dude is so humble. He's always willing to talk after a win, after a loss. If he's always talked to someone, that's someone who, we have to be unbiased in the media world, but I root for Gunnar Henderson. I want to see him do well. And I really believe that this is the face of the franchise going forward. It's going to be Gunnar Henderson. And I would not doubt for a second that Gunnar Henderson could win the MVP in 2024. I think he's at least going to win a Gold Glove. I mean, we've seen what he's done in the field, but this dude is fantastic. He carries himself so well, and he plays the game the right way.
When you talk about how he carries himself, it reminds me of Game 1, the 9th inning. He gets thrown out on a missed hit and run sign, and then everyone's asking him afterwards. And he very easily could have gone, yeah, miss hit and run sign. Hicks was supposed to swing. That happens, whatever. But he didn't throw his teammate under the bus. He was just like, it happened, miscommunication, stuff like that. And from a 22-year-old, that's not normal. I'm 23. I would have thrown Hicks under the bus so fast. I will say that now. Everyone would have known Aaron Hicks missed that sign.
Glad we're not your teammates, Zach.
Yeah.
Goodness. Whoa.
If it was Game 1, my first playoff game, I get thrown out as the tying run at second. I'm like, it was a hit and run. I was But for him to just go out there and be like, no, I don't, it doesn't take he almost took the blame himself. And that, like you said, that's the true leader. that's where you're like, this is the face of the team.
He's accountable. He's responsible. He plays like it's his last game. And the reality is he's playing like a guy that he's finally being unlocked. And what I mean by that is it was him building the confidence all year, and he's just scratching the surface. I don't even know what his ceiling is. I've told you guys this before. I thought it was going to be 5 years with him to win an MVP. It's drawn down. I said the next 2. Wouldn't be surprised next year, but I'll tell you what, he will be an all-star next year. He will show up in big games, and Gunnar Henderson is going to be a main reason why this Baltimore Orioles team is going to continue to put their best foot forward.